No, this is One News Now. The Health Department welcomes the Ombudsman call for a probe into the DOH's COVID-19 response. In a statement, the DOH said it has been transparent in its pandemic response but vowed to cooperate with any investigation. Ombudsman Samuel Martires earlier said that he had directed the creation of two teams which will jointly investigate Secretary Francisco Duque III and other health officials. The inquiry will primarily look into certain issues such as the alleged delay in the procurement of medical gear, lapses that may have led to the death of medical workers, the inaction on the release of their benefits, as well as inconsistencies in the reporting of COVID-19 numbers. As for Malacanang, Palace spokesperson Harry Roque says they respect the Ombudsman's call for a probe. He also enjoined Duque and other health officials to cooperate with the Ombudsman. Meanwhile, Special Advisor to the National Task Force against COVID-19, Dr. Tony Liachon, has resigned from his post. The health reform advocate cited differences with the Health Department's policies, such as a lack of sense of urgency, problems in COVID data management, and transparency in communications processes. And while the use of dexamethasone is considered a significant breakthrough to help reduce COVID-19 casualties, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere warns it is not a magic pill. During her virtual presser earlier today, Vergere emphasized that the steroid does not prevent infection. Rather, it is used for supportive treatment of critical cases. Today, there are still no approved treatments or vaccines for the coronavirus disease.
Sa kasalukuyan, ito po ay sumasailalim pa lamang sa peer review bago ito tuluyang mailathala sa scientific journals. Ayon din po sa mga pag-aaral na available so far, ang dexamethasone po ay intended to be part of supportive care. Ibig sabihin, hindi po ito lunas o gamot para sa COVID-19.
20 barangay officials are now facing criminal charges before the Ombudsman for alleged irregularities during the quarantine period. The DILG says this is just the beginning. Patricia Mangune tells us more.
The DILG filed charges against 20 barangay chairpersons in Metro Manila for violating community quarantine rules since March. The Interior Department received complaints ranging from the selling of liquor, street gambling, to charging fees for quarantine passes.
Doon sa mga naningil sa quarantine pass, natatandaan nyo, from 10 pesos to 500, at nakasama din dito yan. Tapos kung natatandaan nyo, ano sumunod dyan? Yung nag-distribute ng pagkain, yung pera na galing sa barangay at saka yung distribution galing sa city, yung mga namili ng bibigyan. Halimbawa, nireklamo si Kapitan na pinili lang kung sinong bibigyan ng pagkain, tapos yun lang mga kaalyado niya, tapos yung mga iba hindi binigyan. Tapos yung mga ibang barangay na hindi nag-distribute ng pagkain. Tapos ito din yung halimbawa, nag-distribute ng pagkain pero pinapunta lahat sa barangay hall, violation of social distancing.
Among those who will face charges before the Ombudsman is Chairman Jojo Abad of Barangay Batasan Hills for allegedly not implementing social distancing in their public markets last April. Abad said he has already submitted his explanation to the DILG's show cause order and that he will respect whatever the decision of the Ombudsman will be.
Siguro isang pagising din para sa amin yung ginawa ni Yusek Dino. At siguro isang pamamaraan na kailangan lalo pa namin pagtingin ang aming trabaho. O kailangan na lang po namin is hintayin kung ano po yung ibababa sa amin ng kaso ng Ombudsman.
Payatas Barangay Chairman Manuel Guarin is also ready to face complaints that his camp was negligent in enforcing physical distancing during their relief operations last April.
Nung third week yata ng April, may natanggap po kami show cause order from the DILG. At yun naman po ay nasagot natin.
The barangay officials were charged for violating Republic Act 11332 or the Mandatory Reporting of Notifiable Diseases and Health Events of Public Health Concern Act, Republic Act 11469 or the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, and the Ombudsman Guidelines in the implementation of community quarantine. It is now up to the ombudsman to determine whether the local officials did in fact commit a crime. This is just the first batch of nearly 200 barangay officials initially issued show-cause orders for quarantine violations. DILG warns, expect more cases filed in the coming weeks. For News 5, Patricia Mangune. We are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News.
And Purok Sais of Barangay Lower Bikutan here in Taguig.
Good afternoon. You're still watching One News Now. COVID-19 cases in the Philippines have surpassed the 27,000 mark. The Health Department reports over 450 new COVID-19 cases today. 340 are fresh, while 115 are late cases. 5 new COVID-19 deaths were reported over the past 24 hours, and the death count now stands at more than 1,100. Meanwhile, there are now over 6,800 COVID-19 recoveries, with 260 recovering today. Some parts of Taguig are set to be placed under lockdown. To give us more details, Jenny Dongon is joining us live. Jenny, could you tell us which specific areas in Taguig we're talking about, and when should the residents expect this to happen?
Charles, in less than 30 minutes, Purok 5 and 6 of Barangay Lower Bikutan here in Taguig City will be placed under enhanced community quarantine once again at exactly 6 this evening.
As early as 1 in the afternoon, Mang Buddy, a barber, closed his shop. It's only been less than a week since they resumed operation under GCQ.
Antay na lang ulit after 15 days. Sarado na naman. Tiis na lang din. Ganun talaga eh, kasi hindi naman pwedeng magbukas din ako na alangan din eh. Kasi para rin kaming malay mo, nakagupit kami ng mayroon palang dala. No? Delikado rin kami dyan. Tinitiis ko rin na
When asked, majority of the residents agreed to put the barangay under ECQ once again.
Para sa kapakanan namin, okay lang.
Barangay Chairman Ruel Pacaira said Lower Bikutan has a total of 21 active COVID-19 cases, the highest in Taguig City. Purok 5 has recorded 6 new cases since May 28, while 4 new infections have been detected in Purok 6.
Marami po kasi sa lugar natin, dito sa Lower Bikutan, na naninirahan ng mga frontliners, no? Kasama na rin po yung naapektuhan dahil yung mga kamag-anak nagpositibo rin base doon sa mga pinakaunang nagpositibo nung nagkaroon po kami ng swabbing. May mga member of the family na naapektuhan, so kaya dumagdag po doon sa bilang.
The localized lockdown will last until July 1. Pacaira said the local government decided to revert the barangay's quarantine status to restrict the movement of people. Curfew will be implemented from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
No, limit din yung mga taong kumbaga may unified quarantine pass per household. Sila lang po i-allow. No, ito po yung ibabalik po natin doon sa ECQ na nakasanayan nung nakaraan po natin dito sa NCR.
Meanwhile, the Pateros LGU has extended the modified ECQ status of Barangay Santa Ana until June 30. According to Mayor Miguel Ponce, the barangay has the highest number of COVID-19 cases across the municipality.
We leave Barangay Santa Ana under MECQ because I want to at least implement there a more strict measures in order to contain and delay the spread ng virus natin.
Charles Chairman Pacaira says that Taguig LGU will also include Purok 4 in areas under ECQ starting tomorrow. Local officials assure affected residents that they will provide food packs twice a week. Major roads, meanwhile, will remain open to motorists, but stricter checkpoint protocol are expected. Charles.
Thank you, Jenny Dongon, reporting live from Taguig. The Commission on Human Rights urges the government to review laws and policies that threaten press freedom and the freedom of expression. The CHR says some policies, including libel laws, may pose a direct threat to truth-telling, especially if the law is weaponized to silence critics. This is the Commission's response to the conviction of Rappler CEO Maria Ressa and former researcher and writer Ray Santos Jr. for cyber libel. Ressa and Santos' camp is still discussing their next step. Speaking to Cito Beltran on One News's agenda, Defense Counsel Attorney Ted Tess says probation, as suggested by the palace, is on the table, as a motion for reconsideration and appeal are also among the possible legal remedies, even perhaps reaching the Supreme Court.
Malakas ang kalaban, napakalakas, no? And we know the odds that are stacked against the Maria and Ray Santos. Pwede umabot ng Korte Suprema at maaaring tumagal nga ito dahil nga dun sa siyempre sa dami ng kasong hinahawakan ng Korte Suprema, maaaring nga tumagal ito.
And lawmakers continue to discuss history on the 7th Joint House deliberations on ABS-CBN's franchise. Ria Fernandez is reporting live from the Batasan Pambansa. Ria, could you break this down for us?
Charles, the lower chambers committees on legislative franchises and good government have resumed discussion on the return of the Kapamilya Network to the Lopez's post-Marcos regime. Attorney Jake Almeda Lopez, former general manager of ABS-CBN, insisted that the government sequestered the network during martial law and was only processually retrieved by the Lopezes come late President Cory Aquino's term. The Philippine Commission on Good Government, or PCGG, meanwhile echoed what former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, Marcos's defense minister and sequester, said, that ABS-CBN was not under the sequestration order. However, Commissioner John Agbayani noted that ABS-CBN's retrieval of its facilities leased by sequestered broadcast companies did not undergo the regular procedure. Meanwhile, Enrile refuted Almeda Lopez's claim that the Marcos government stole ABS-CBN from the Lopezes. He also claimed that prior to martial law, Henny Lopez offered to turn over ABS-CBN to the government since it was already highly leveraged, and that it was only turned over to the government due to national emergency upon the declaration of martial law. But Almeda Lopez said the debts were due to the company's previous owner. Let's listen to their statements.
Henny Lopez said that they wanted the government to take over ABS-CBN, but President Marcos rejected the offer.
Alto, Aleli, the name of his wife, and Tony, inutang niya yung kwarta sa DBP. Worried na worried yung mga opisyal ng DBP. Masisisi sila bakit pinautang yung kapatid ng presidente. Reluctantly pumunta kay Lopez. I say reluctant because in that elections, the Lopezes went for magsaysay against the brother of Elpidio Quirino. But when Lopez was interested,
Charles, despite the statements of Enrile and Almeda Lopez, Deputy Speaker Dante Marcoleta insisted that the best evidence to prove that the Lopez's own ABS-CBN is the arbitral award. However, the concerned agencies are yet to find the said document. Charles?
Thank you, Ria Fernandez. For more updates, you can follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. You can also visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.